the history and spirituality and culture of the Anishinaabe people, who consist of the peoples of the Three Fires, known as the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations, on whose traditional territories we gather and whose ancestors signed treaties with our ancestors. We also recognize the Métis and the Inuit, whose ancestors shared this land and these waters. May we all, as treaty people, live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
In Flanders fields. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt thawed, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
El Malay Rachamim, God, full of compassion, dwelling on high, grant perfect rest under the wings of the Shekinah, among the holy and pure, who shine as the light of the firmament, to the souls of all our beloved kin, whom we recall with blessing on this day. Master of compassion, gather them forever in the shelter of your wings. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life. The eternal is their inheritance. May they rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, uyaseh shalom aleinu v'akol Israel ve'olam v'imru. Amen.
A reading from the book of Micah, chapter 4, verses 1 to 4. Peace and security through obedience. In days to come, the mountain of the Lord's temple shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised up above the hills. Peoples shall stream to it, and many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between many peoples, and shall arbitrate between strong nations far away. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. But they shall all sit under their own vines and under their own fig trees, and no one shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken. This past month, the HMCS Margaret Brooke paid a port call to Owen Sound. Her visit was part of the ship's Great Lakes tour. Now, the HMCS Margaret Brooke is a unique ship. It's the second of the Harry DeWolf class of offshore patrol vessels, and she has already traveled to the Arctic, the Antarctic, and engaged in numerous operations with our Navy. But who is Margaret Brooke? She was born in rural Saskatchewan and graduated as a dietitian and enlisted in the Royal Canadian Navy in March 1942. She was assigned as a nursing sister with the rank of sub-lieutenant, as there was no other way to engage her as a dietitian. She was initially posted to naval hospitals across Canada and Newfoundland. On October 14th, 1942, Brooke and another nursing sister, Agnes Wilkie, were passengers on the ferry the SS Caribou, traveling between Sydney, Nova Scotia and Port aux Basques, Newfoundland, when that ship was hit by a torpedo. The ship began to sink immediately. Brooke and her fellow nursing sister ended up in the water and were drawn down by the ship's suction. They rose to the surface and were then pulled into a lifeboat. The cold air and the cold water began to take a toll on the survivors. Wilkie began to suffer from hypothermia and passed out. Brooke held on to her for several hours, repeatedly stopping her from slipping into the water. Finally, a wave pulled Wilkie away to her death. Of the 4,480 nursing sisters who enrolled in all three services in the Second World War, Wilkie was the only one to die due to enemy action. 167 crew and passengers on the SS Caribou died, while 101 survived. It is said there was no outport on the west coast of Newfoundland that was not untouched by the sinking of the SS Caribou. On January 1st, 1943, Brooke was awarded the MBE. The citation reads, "For gallantry and courage. After the sinking of the Newfoundland ferry SS Caribou, this officer displayed great courage whilst in the water in attempting to save the life of another nursing sister." After the war, Margaret Brooke remained in the Navy and retired in 1962 as a lieutenant commander. She returned to Saskatchewan, where she completed a BA and a PhD, and stayed on at the university as an instructor and researcher. She retired fully in 1986 and moved to Victoria, British Columbia, where she led an active life, dying in 2016, just short of her 101st birthday. On her 100th birthday, Margaret Brooke was informed that the second of the 6 new Arctic and offshore patrol ships would be named HMCS Margaret Brooke in her honor. Brooke was astounded and observed that the Navy just doesn't go around naming its ships after people. It marked the first time a Canadian warship had been named after a woman, as well as the first time for a living person. Nursing sisters were considered non-combatants, yet they served as faithfully and bravely as all those we remember today. As each of us remembers the ones we know who have served this country with distinction, let's remember them. Nursing sisters, veterans, Indigenous veterans, all veterans from all conflicts, all of them. May it be so.
Now commence the laying of the wreath. Government of Canada, placed by Warrant Officer Cameron Bruce, assisted by Dean Weir, Vice President, Ontario Command. Memorial Silver Cross in recognition of mothers who have lost children in military service of Canada, placed by Gladys Penichetti, assisted by Dennis Schmidt, District C Commander. Victoria Cross recipients, Billy Bishop, Tommy Holmes, and David Curry, placed by Fred McKay, assisted by Ed Yates, C4 Deputy Zone Commander. World War I, placed by Brian Fraser, assisted by Brad Fraser. World War II, placed by Lynn Belanger, assisted by Julie Benson. Merchant Navy, placed by Johnny Johnson, assisted by Barry Jack. Korea War, placed by Leonard Smith and Paul Thompson, assisted by Branch 6 President Patty Sergeant Gibson. United Nations, placed by retired RSM, 2nd PPCLI, Lawrence Surridge, assisted by retired Corporal, 2nd PPCLI, John Parola. NATO, placed by past President Harry Hutchinson, assisted by Beth Hutchison. Afghanistan, placed by Sergeant Mark Cameron, assisted by retired Corporal, 2nd PPCLI, John Parola. In honor of serving members of the Grey and Simcoe Foresters, placed by Lieutenant Colonel Mike LaCroix, assisted by Chief Warrant Officer James Bull. Honoring the 4th Canadian Division Training Centre Meaford, placed by Ed Yates, Zone 4 Deputy Commander, assisted by retired Corporal John Parola. RCMP, placed by Barry Jack, assisted by Liz Wilkie. Province of Ontario, placed by Dean Weir, Vice President, Ontario Command, assisted by Lynn Belanger. City of Owen Sound, placed by Mayor Ian Boddy, assisted by students from Eco Dominique, Charlotte O'Brien, and Chloe Hicks. County of Grey, placed by Deputy Mayor Scott Gray, assisted by Donna Wilson. Georgian Bluffs, placed by Mayor Sue Cotton, assisted by Michelle Yates. Veterans Affairs Canada, placed by Veteran Service Officer Barry Jack, assisted by Peggy Campion.